The global trade war intensifies. Trump's 50% tariff ultimatum to China. The simmering trade war between the United States and China has erupted into a full-blown conflagration, with President Donald Trump issuing a stark ultimatum to Beijing. Rescind the newly imposed 34% tariffs on U.S. imports by Tuesday, April 8, 2025, or face an additional 50% tariff on all Chinese imports starting the very next day. This dramatic escalation marks the latest chapter in a protracted trade dispute that has sent global markets reeling and raised concerns about the potential for a wider economic downturn. The back and forth began last week when the White House announced a 34% retaliatory tariff on Chinese imports, a move swiftly countered by Beijing with an identical tariff on U.S. goods. This tit-for-tat escalation underscores the escalating tensions between the two economic superpowers and the increasingly assertive stance adopted by the Trump administration. In a characteristically forceful statement posted on Truth Social on Monday morning, President Trump laid bare his frustration with China's response. He pointedly highlighted his previous warnings that any retaliatory tariffs imposed by China would be met with immediate and significantly higher countermeasures. He stated unequivocally that China's actions defied his clear and explicit warnings, a transgression that he is not willing to tolerate. Trump's statement left no room for misinterpretation. He declared, in no uncertain terms, that unless China completely reverses its recently implemented 34% tariff increase, a move he deemed a continuation of Beijing's long-standing unfair trade practices, the United States would unleash a wave of additional tariffs, totaling a staggering 50%, effective April 9, 2025. This represents a significant escalation in the trade conflict, potentially inflicting substantial damage on both economies. A senior White House official, speaking to ABC News, provided further clarity on the planned tariff increases. The official emphasized that the proposed 50% tariff would be levied in addition to the existing 34% reciprocal tariff announced last week, and on top of the pre-existing 20% tariff already in place. This means that certain categories of Chinese imports could face a cumulative tariff of a hefty 104%, effectively crippling their competitiveness in the U.S. market. The announcement sent shockwaves through global financial markets. Monday morning saw U.S. stocks experience significant volatility, oscillating between gains and losses as rumors circulated, and were swiftly denied by the White House as fake news that President Trump was considering a temporary 90-day suspension of his sweeping tariff policies. This fleeting speculation only served to underscore the uncertainty and anxiety surrounding the escalating trade conflict. The gravity of the situation cannot be overstated. The potential impact of a 104% tariff on various Chinese goods extends far beyond the immediate economic implications. It has the potential to disrupt global supply chains, increase prices for consumers, and trigger retaliatory measures from other countries, creating a domino effect with potentially devastating consequences for the global economy. Beyond the immediate financial repercussions, the escalating rhetoric and the increasingly aggressive posturing between the two nations raise significant concerns about the potential for further geopolitical instability. The trade war is not simply an economic dispute. It represents a broader struggle for global economic dominance and influence, with profound implications for the future of international relations. The White House's actions, particularly the swift and decisive response to China's retaliatory tariffs, reflect a hardline approach that prioritizes protecting American industries and jobs. However, this aggressive stance also carries considerable risks. The potential for economic disruption, both domestically and internationally, is substantial, and the long-term consequences of this escalating trade war remain uncertain. The stark choice facing China is clear: acquiesce to Trump's demands and withdraw the 34% tariff, or brace for a massive retaliatory strike that could inflict significant economic pain. This high-stakes gamble underscores the increasingly perilous nature of the U.S.-China relationship and highlights the urgent need for a diplomatic solution before the situation deteriorates further. The world watches with bated breath as the clock ticks down to the April 8 deadline, wondering what the next move will be in this escalating and potentially devastating trade war. The contrast between the gravity of the situation and President Trump's subsequent White House visit from the Los Angeles Dodgers to celebrate their World Series victory is jarring. While the president celebrated sporting triumph, the looming threat of a major trade war cast a long shadow over the celebratory atmosphere. It serves as a stark reminder of the complexities and contradictions of the current geopolitical landscape, where moments of celebration can be quickly overshadowed by the looming threat of economic conflict. The world waits anxiously to see how this high-stakes game of economic brinkmanship will unfold. The stakes are incredibly high, not only for the US and China, but for the global economy as a whole.